Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on the incoming heat wave that is going to be gripping the United Kingdom over the course of the next week or so. Temperatures likely somewhere in the south of England to touch 30 degrees tomorrow, and it's highly likely now that we see 30 degrees somewhere within England and Wales for the next 5 days, potentially even the next 7 days, all the way into next weekend, and perhaps even the start of the following week. But it's beyond the 7-day time frame, so there is uncertainty with that. But regardless of that, it looks very hot, oppressively hot, temperatures widely into the low 30s, potentially even mid-30s during some of the peak days, with wall-to-wall sunshine, and again, oppressively hot for a period of time. It's a prolonged heat wave. This not just a couple day heat spike. It's going to be a good 5+ days. There are signs, as we'll have a look at the mid to longer range models at the second half of the video, that we could be seeing a little bit of a breakdown, perhaps at day 10 or slightly after. Low pressure running off the Atlantic, and we know that could cause some big thunderstorms, if not at least bringing cooler air, some more heavier precipitation, and just a bit of a change in the weather, as it is really dry in the south. Drought conditions look likely to continue. We could be seeing an increase in wildfires over the next few days and the next week or so, and yet not helping the host pipe bans and the generally really dry weather we do have at the moment. So, do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link's in the description. So, if we do start to have a look at the live radar, you can see not much is going on. The high pressure is now building in. It's not fully in control yet, but it is pretty much sort of pushing its way in, and means we haven't got a lot of precipitation around at all at the moment, and it's going to be starting wafting up those warmer air masses from the south. Some precipitation across northern and western Scotland, and that could be the signal still over the next week or so. Weather fronts will try and push in at times, but for 90% of the British Isles, it is going to be pretty much bone dry and very warm, if not oppressively hot, as I said, over the next 7 days. We have a look at the temperatures around 3:30, so the peak temperatures of the day, you can see those temperatures rising to the mid to high 20s today, widely 23 to 25 degrees, peaking in around 26, maybe 27 or even 28 degrees in a few spots. Again, widely across England and Wales, even into parts of Republic of Ireland and eastern parts of Scotland as well. And it's just going to expand this heat, and sort of 25 degrees is going to be cool for the British Isles over the course of the next week. Most areas will be in that high 20s, low 30s range. So it's going to be very hot, and the most likely peak temperatures will be in central, southern, and potentially West Midlands and southwest parts of England. Not across the East Anglia, East Midlands, up towards Yorkshire, Cambridgeshire, down towards London and Kent, where we saw the peak conditions for that heat wave in the middle of January that we saw, middle of July, where we saw 40 degrees. It's much likely to be pushed further west because the prevailing wind from this the high pressure system is coming in from the east. So that means it will drag cooler air at the surface, and that will cool down areas along the east coast a little bit more and further inland as well. So those highest temperatures will be further westwards. Again, it won't be cool in the east at all, but it's less likely to be where we have the peak temperature. Still low 30s is very probable and possible there. High pressure is only building in at the moment, so that easterly flow hasn't really started, but you can see slightly cooler just off the coast near Norwich, and that will probably extend along the whole east coast, with those temperatures most likely back towards the mid-20s maybe along the coast, with that prevailing, with that wind coming around the high pressure. So if we do now have a look at the UKV, have a look at the precipitation temperature over the next 5 days. Real no point looking at the precipitation, but we'll run for it really quickly, as there really is nothing much going on. Again, you can see precipitation moving to western Scotland, so that will continue. A bit of cloud here or there, some more precipitation across northern Scotland. Nothing too crazy, and just continues. A bit of precipitation elsewhere. Bone dry, sunshine for all, and yeah, just looks really nice. And you look by the end of the run, by Friday, the upper air temperatures widely around 13 to 16 degrees at 850 HPA, which is, of course, you can add about 15 degrees to that for surface conditions, so widely high 20s, low 30s, and even mid 30s in a few regions. If you have a look at the max temperature at the surface, you can see this afternoon temperatures peaking around that 26, 27, maybe even 28 degree range. And by Monday, You see those temperatures peaking around the 28 to maybe 29 degree range, perhaps even 30 degrees is very, very possible here. Tuesday looks guaranteed pretty much to be breaking that 30 degree barrier. You can see by the afternoon widely 29, 30, maybe slightly higher in a few spots. Again, that peak temperatures central, southern, southwest England for that 30 degrees, and that continues into Wednesday, where temperatures likely to peak once again around that 29 or 30 degree range. Very, very hot again. West Midlands, central, southern and southwest England. You can see along the east coast, more towards the mid-20s, maybe high 20s, slightly further inland. And as we head towards Thursday on this latest UKV, very widely hot, 30 to 32 degrees, widespread across most of England and a lot of Wales, southern parts of the Republic of Ireland, and some parts, especially in the east, towards the central belt of Scotland. And again, along that east coast of England, you can see back towards the mid-20s, low 20s, right along the coast, high 20s, slightly further inland. And it will just be that temperature gradient because we do have an easterly flow with that coming in. Again, if you look at the wind speeds, you can see an easterly flow will cool those temperatures down very slightly along the east coast. We'll just make it perhaps just a little bit less oppressive. So, yeah, not too bad, but a little bit of contrast to what we had in July, where, of course, that East Midlands, Cambridgeshire, that's where we saw, and Yorkshire, that's where we saw those peak temperatures getting to the high 30s, low 40s. So, yeah, slight shift in the exact peak temperatures for this heat wave. Now, if you look at the max temperatures on the GFS, just to compare them again, you see temperatures today, widely 26 to 27 degrees. For Tuesday, those temperatures perhaps, for Monday actually, those temperatures touching on 30 degrees in the south. For Tuesday, again, widely high 20s, low 30s, and by Wednesday afternoon, a bit more widespread 30s, 30 to 31 degrees, widely perhaps 32 or even 33 degrees peaking somewhere. By Thursday, widely 30 plus degrees, 30 to 34 degrees looks like the top temperature, maybe 35 or even 36 is possible. And by Friday afternoon, 35 or 36 along central southern England and widely above 30 degrees, widespread, very, very warm, if not hot, oppressively hot sort of conditions. And by Saturday afternoon, once again rising to those low to mid 30s. Sunday starts to cool down slightly, but still possible to see 35 degrees somewhere. And by Monday, in just over a week's time, it does look like it will cool down back towards the 20s, but still could touch 30 degrees. And this is why I said we could be seeing 7 consecutive days of 30 degrees. Could be very, very exceptional indeed. And beyond that into Tuesday, you can see it does start to cool down quite a bit more widely. Now, if you have a look at the ECM Operational Run, have a look at those 2 meter temperatures again. This afternoon, 24, 25, 26 degrees. Do it by tomorrow afternoon, widely 25 to 27, perhaps 28, maybe 29 or 30. By Tuesday, again, not quite as hot as the other runs, back down towards 26, 27, 28. We have seen a bit of a theme from the ECMWF run that is slightly lower, but it still is very, very warm. Slightly lower than the other models, that is, and what we have seen in reality. So we have to take that into account. And by Wednesday, the ECMWF does start to touch on those really high 20s, 28, maybe 29 or 30. And by Thursday afternoon, widely there we go, into the low 30s. So it does take a couple of days more than the other runs, but I do think that's just because it's underdoing those temperatures ever so slightly, getting up towards that 30, 31 degree range. And by Friday, we get up towards the low 30s widely, 30 to 32 degrees. And again, if we just compare that to the other runs, it is a couple degrees lower. So I do think there is a little bit of a bias here, a cooler end bias from these top end ECMWF temperatures. But we'll have to see, of course. And you can see by Saturday, back still into the low 30s. Again, we can't look at the 3 p.m. temperatures just because of the configuration of this. And you can see by Sunday, 32 degrees still, and Monday still touching on the low 30s. So it sustains that heat into Monday a little bit more than the other runs, but by Tuesday it does cool it down considerably. So it does look likely that around Monday, Tuesday next week, we will start to see the end of the oppressively hot conditions. Still could be above average, widely mid to high 20s, but nowhere near as oppressively hot. And of course with this, we could see a breakdown with heavy showers and thunderstorms. But that will be something we do concentrate probably later this upcoming week as it comes into the shorter time frame. And we'll have a look at Cape values, the precipitation charts for that on the various short range models that normally only have a range of around 3 to 5 days. So we do have to wait a few days to have a look at that in more detail. So if we do now have a look at the GFS run, look at the pressure and temperature charts from this today, you can see the high pressure is in control and it does push in even more over the next day or two, and we do see that slack easterly wind. Again, you can't see it too much here, but it is quite a low, quite a slack easterly wind. And you can see if we look at the United Kingdom, look, you can see those isobars coming in from the east, especially around East Anglia, London and Kent. And look back at the European look, you can just see we are centred under the high. Perhaps towards the weekend, end of this week and towards the weekend, we veer more south to southeasterly, which could drag up some even hotter air, but it could also introduce lower pressure by Monday and Tuesday, spinning up big thunderstorms with that, and heavy rain could be widespread with that as well. So it would go very, very unsettled. The only caveat I've put with this is that we have seen this signal quite a lot from the models at day 10 producing this, but it keeps getting pushed back. So again, we'll have to see exactly how it comes off. It does look like we're going to see a breakdown within the next 10 days, but whether it's Monday, Tuesday, or push back slightly further will still yet to be determined. If we do run back to the current time and look at those 850 HPA temperatures, you can see it's around 10 degrees at 850 HPA tomorrow, and you can see it will slowly rise throughout the week, back up to around 15 degrees at 850 HPA, could even touch 20 degrees by the end of this working week. And you can see by the weekend, we still have very hot air in place, but low pressure's running in, and it could create quite a big thundery breakdown before eventually turns things slightly cooler. But that hot air is never too far away, so if we could see a thundery breakdown, but it could still be very warm at the surface, still could be seeing temperatures in the mid to high 20s. It is very possible there. So we'll just have to see how it does play out. This August could be turning out to be an incredibly hot month, especially for the CET this summer. Could be very, very warm overall. Be very interested to see what the statistics do come out with, as we will start to be seeing some images on Twitter, online and stuff, seeing what sort of where we do sort of rank in terms of August and summer conditions in general. And yeah, this could really be one for the history books this summer. Not only seeing very prolonged dry weather, we're seeing quite a number of very, very hot days, not only hot days in July and June, but we could be setting up a good 7 to 10 day, 30 plus degree region here. And of course, we wrote 40 degrees in July as well. So this could really be a summer for the history books. And we'll really only know for certain in about 3 weeks' time when we come to the end of the month. But we'll have to see exactly how it does play out. But it's looking incredibly hot still on the latest longer range. If we do have a look at the EGM, see how that does compare. Again, high pressure building in at the moment. Again, the high pressure stays in control. And eventually, as we head towards around day 7, so getting towards Sunday, Monday time, we start to see low pressure run in, turning things slightly more unsettled. And you can see a big low pressure system eventually comes in, and that would be bringing big showers and thunderstorms, turning things, as I said, quite a bit more unsettled. So again, very similar to the GFS around that day 10 or day 8 to day 10 range, breaking up that with the lower pressure. So we'll just have to see exactly how it does play out. But for the time being, it looks very hot for the next 7 days, slightly more unsettled beyond that as we head into a week tomorrow, really, is when we could start to see the proper breakdown of this. Probably even starting slightly sooner in the north and west, but to the areas where we're seeing the really hot conditions in central, southern, southwestern England, it'll probably most likely be Monday or Tuesday when we see this low pressure breakthrough. If we do have a look at the ECMWF, see how that does compare. Again, high pressure building in at the moment, continuing to be in control all of this week, eventually dragging up some very hot air in from the east and the southeast. You can see that 20 degree isotherm getting very close for eventually low pressure running in, turning us slightly cooler, but also more unsettled, turning things, quite a bit more showery, cooler, and could be some big thunderstorms around with that. So if we do the end of the video by having a look at the latest from the ensembles, you can see a massive rise in upper air temperatures over the next week. If we just do zoom in, again, massive rise in upper air temperatures over the next few days, peaking around later this working week into next weekend before we do see a bit of a drop around the 15th of August, so in around 7-8 days time. Still very warm upper air temperatures in London. We can see a bit of precipitation spikes there, so as I said, it still could be very warm upper air temperatures, but low pressure could be in control, which will cool those temperatures down at the surface because we will see showers and thunderstorms with that. In the longer term, around the 17th of August, it looks like temperatures will return to around average with more precipitation around. So hopefully we can see some decent precipitation, whether that is in the form of persistent rain, so occluded fronts, things like that, or in the shape of thunderstorms. Hopefully we do see something in the second half of August to break these drought conditions, or at least to relieve them for a little bit. So hopefully we do see something like that. But for the time being, you see those well above average upper air temperatures getting to around 15 to 20 degrees at 850 HPA. Whether we get to the mid to high 30s, that will all depend on whether we're on some of these hotter runs getting towards 20 degrees, or whether we just stay in the mid to low 30s, which would be around that 16, 17 degree mark where quite a few ensemble members are at the moment. So there's still a bit of leeway there, but it's going to be oppressively hot regardless of whether it hits 36, 37 or only 33, 34. So if we do just have a look at the 2 meter temperatures briefly. Again, widely into the high 20s, low 30s here, even from the average of the ensemble members. So you can always add a couple degrees on, as I always say, because they are lower resolution. And if we do compare it to the ECMWF ensembles, have a look at the midnight run. Again, very, very warm, potential breakdown around that 17th, 18th of August mark, trending back towards average. Quite a lot of spread there, some staying very warm for a prolonged period of time, some dropping off very quickly, and precipitation signal coming in around 7, 8, 9 days' time. That's when we could start to see some more heavy showers, some thunderstorms breaking out. But I wouldn't rely on that too much because we have seen it repeatedly diminish or be pushed back in the timeline. For the time being, it's looking like it's going to be incredibly hot over the next week. Heat wave conditions for many, breaking and exceeding those heat wave thresholds by quite a distance in some regions, but could be by a good 5+ degrees in some areas. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see an extreme heat warning put in force, but we'll have to just wait and see if the Met Office do put those in force. But the big thing about this heat wave is it's going to be prolonged. It's not going to be quite as intense as the one in July. We're not going to be reaching 40 degrees. Best we'll probably reach is 36 or 37. But the big thing with this is going to last 7 days instead of 2 or 3. So the nights are going to get difficult. It's going to get very warm in your houses. So please do make sure you do take the necessary precautions to keep everything cool. And it's going to be, as I said, quite prolonged. So basically you check up on people, because not only can intense heat hurt people and give people into severe dehydration, stuff like that, it's also the prolonged heat as well. Prolonged, I honestly think 1 day of 40 degrees is probably better than 5 days or 7 days at 35 degrees, just because that prolonged heat can just break down the body in terms of dehydration and just tiredness, things like that. So please do make sure you check up on the vulnerable and, of course, do stay safe out there yourself. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.